Hey guys, I'm Dave.
And Haley from the unicorn dress.
With the unicorn dress. Thank you for being here today, baby. How are you?
Good.
All right, guys,
I got a bracelet.
She's got a bracelet. It's a JoJo Siwa bracelet. You love JoJo Siwa, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, I got to apologize to you. Initially, I was going to work on this guy, the cursed book this week.
I help.
Yes, you help tremendously. You help Daddy all the time. However, I'm going to have to push it off a bit. All right, because I've had some great opportunities.
Look at this.
Yeah, look at that scary thing. That's going to be used in the cursed book when I make it, Haley.
Yeah, what's
And we were going to do it this week, but my friend Jason from Castaway Toys and now the White Elephant Toys. Oh, yeah. Hold on, baby. Has sent me one of their new figures that they're coming out with. That's an 8-inch format Mego scale figure. For those of you that don't know, I collect vintage as well as new 8-inch Mego figures.
Look, guys.
Don't know what that is? You're going to find out.
Look, guys.
That's awesome, right? Haley made that. You made that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, guys, I want to introduce to you my friend, Jason Schiermeyer. Check it out. Hey guys, we got a special guest with us here today. We got Jason Schiermeyer, an old friend of mine from now recently White Elephant Toys. Jason, man, thanks, man. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Hey, excited to be here. Thank you.
Yep. So you and I are, we've got a history. We go back. And just to, because I'm a horror variety show, not all our viewers might know, I did do an episode on Mego toys and stuff like that, but just to bring everybody up to speed, you and I, as we're collectors of Mego action figures. This is an original Mego mummy action figure from, was it 1975, I believe, around there. And then we've got Planet of the Apes General Urkel. These are original vintage Mego figures that we collected, right? And then Mego was revived. We've got new Megos. But one thing that you had always shared with me was a passion for making custom figures that of characters that weren't done by Mego Corporation, that eventually evolved into the desire to want to manufacture and actually sell 8-inch scale Mego skew action figures, and that's
right.
what you're doing now. So what I have, what you sent me to just recently here, is this figure here, which is your line called the Murderous Maidens, and this is the vampire bride, and her name is Lilith. Now, this is from your toy company and your brand, White Elephant Toys. So, tell everybody how you got started and all this. First of all,
like in making toys and stuff.
Well, yeah, to take this leap into this this daunting, as everyone will find out, this daunting adventure.
Yeah, I guess I've always had a passion for sci-fi and monsters and art, doing art and being creative and things like that. So in the early 90s, mid 90s, as I started getting on the internet and seeing people customize stuff and make figures. In fact, before I knew who you were, some of the stuff I saw you do really was some of my early inspirations, with the apes and stuff. But essentially I was like, hey, this is pretty cool outlet for my creativity, try to create some characters that either weren't made or, always tried to do something a little innovative or learn something or try to do it differently. And so, I started to just experiment with stuff and basically started with taking like Mego heads and making molds of them and then resculpting over the top of them and trying to create, a different character from that. And there wasn't a lot of information about how to do this stuff back then, and so there was a lot of trial and error and stuff like that. But And it was just a really, I don't know, it was a kind of a little fun time, for customizing and stuff back in the mid '90s. Different people were doing it. You had people like Charlie Flatt and Chris Myman and some different guys. So they were really pushing the edge there with at the time, like the 12-inch figures were really popular, and they had all kinds of cool stuff you could do with the 12-inch figures. And then we were trying to do that same concept with 8-inch figures, but there wasn't anything really available to buy too much, so you had to make stuff.
Yeah.
And so I guess we got started. I mean, I always had a love for like knockoff figures and stuff, and that's probably because where I was raised at, the only store that was even close was a Kmart, and so sometimes you didn't get the latest and greatest toys. You may get a different version or something. So
well, just so that everyone is clear, because you mentioned knockoff. So for those that don't know, a knockoff would be like a Superman figure, but it's not manufactured by somebody who has the licensing rights to Superman and may make this, to the lack of a better term, crappy blow molded piece of junk just to try to cash in on the the license.
Yes.
But over the years, adult collectors have sought after them. Sometimes the knockoffs are valued more than the actual licensed properties because of the rarity of the the knockoff. So that's just to bring people up to speed of what you're talking about as far as knockoffs concerned.
Yeah, especially like in the Field of Monsters and stuff, there was a lot of great knockoff lines and a lot of generic lines, and I've always kind of gravitated towards that. And so we, a buddy of mine's, David Lee, we started doing some custom monsters and stuff, and they were our versions of
Do you care to share the name of the first company that you guys had?
Castaway Toys is the name of the first company, and we were doing kind of a blend of factory made stuff and resin made stuff and hand painted stuff and factory stuff and stuff from different companies. And we were just trying to create our own characters and do something new, but also kind of rejuvenate that whole Mego.
But eventually you actually secured an actual license for what turned out to be quite a popular character.
Yeah. Well, so the way that kind of started was we found a company that was making 8-inch figures, and they've been these generic cowboys and pirates and things were around for many years now, and we there was no instructions on how to contact a factory in China, but we got a hold of a package and we saw some information on there for this factory, and we didn't know if they were even still in business, so we contacted them. And our first initial thing was, hey, can we buy some of these figures, and we didn't know if they just had a bunch of cases of them laying around and they've been selling them or they're still making them. And so what happened was we bought a bunch of cases of them, and the Cowboys came and they had combat boots on them, and we were like, oh God, this is the problem. So we contacted the factory again, and we said, hey, can we get some cowboy boots made so we can sell all these cowboys and stuff that we bought from you? And we sent them a pair of Mego chip boots from the TV show Chips. And they made them, and they came back with these beautiful boots, and they were made out of rubber, which everybody else prior to that was making stuff out of plastic, and these things were rubber, and they felt more like real boots. And I think that's where like a light bulb went off, and we were like, wait a minute, we can make stuff in China and have that 70s feel to it, but use like modern materials and things like that. And that's how that kind of started with the factory. So we had them make boots for us, and that gave us that contact in China. And then we came out, we secured the license to make the Phantom, one of the, I guess he's the oldest superhero. We got the license.
The Ghost Who Walks, isn't that what he's called? The Ghost Who Walks, isn't that?
Yeah.
Tagline. Yeah.
And so that was a fun project. We learned a lot, and that was a really popular, character and product and stuff for us. But really, with all this stuff, I mean, nowadays, I mean, you can get online and search and find a factory, and you can get manufacturing going, and there's some risk involved. If you get with the wrong people, they may take your money, but it's not as difficult now. When we started doing this stuff, you just had to take risk and try things and try to make it work.
Yeah. Well, and the thing, the key too, is that people, like, back then when it was the Phantom and all that, you had all a wide variety of different colored boots and accessories and everything. Is the wait time for them to manufacture all that stuff, package it, and then the shipping, because it goes by boat. It's not
Yeah,
some airplane that's flying it over here. It goes by boat, and it's a long, lengthy wait. And especially in this day and age too, like the Tops Mego thing, there's a lot of people that are getting frustrated when it's clearly not Tops or Mego's fault that it's on a boat.
yeah,
It's on its way, but it's on a boat. So I could see that part of it being frustrating when you want to try to fill a certain timeline to get the product in the customer's hands, to know that there's going to be a lengthy wait for that.
yeah. That was a big problem for us, and really, I think we could have been in a different place now with our success had we been able to keep a constant supply of items coming over. And so basically, we would wait and get stuff, and we would sell out, and then we would take that money and put in another order, and then we wouldn't have anything to sell for a while, and people start losing interest, or they kind of forget about you, and then all of a sudden you get another order and you start the process over again.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
One of the cool things now is like, I make smaller runs. The last order I did was like 1,000 of each figure, and I have the clamshell packaging that you have there. I have that made in the U.S. and I have the cards. Yeah, I have the cards printed in the U.S. and then I have the figures all bagged and boxed and sent over by FedEx from China. So
Oh,
they
wow.
they fly them over directly to my house,
Oh,
and they
nice.
come directly to my house, and then we take all the figures out of the bags, and then we repackage them, put the cards in, and assemble everything ourselves. Excuse me. So it's a little bit more work, but we don't have to wait for the shipping, and then also the shipping containers are so expensive right now to ship by sea. So
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it adds a little bit of cost to each figure, but I can get the stuff within 4 or 5 days after they get done.
Oh, wow. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
And so you say that you have the bubbles made here in the United States,
Uh-huh.
and these are, you'll be able to pop it open, right?
Yep.
You can pop it open. We're going to talk about the card art here in a minute, and then you can just pop that figure out if you want to display it or whatever, or shoot some photography or whatever, and then just pop it right back in if you so choose, and it snaps
Yep.
back in place. And I love the card art too, the graphics. Uh, I'll take some better photos here for everybody, but you want to tell me about the graphic designer that did that for you? And
Yeah, yeah. And I'm probably going to mess his name up, but I'm going to ask you a question first.
okay,
Look at the border around the back of the package and tell me if you recognize it.
the border.
Yeah,
It looks familiar. As soon as you tell me, I'm probably gonna be like,
so it's from a coloring book, one that you're familiar with. It's from the Tomlin, the coloring book that had
oh,
all the art in it.
oh, okay, okay, I see it now. Yeah.
So
So,
I did a little modification on that. The artist's name is Ryan. I think he goes by Rhino Arts or Ryan Arts. I need to look that up, but Ryan Genovese is his name.
uh-huh.
I probably mispronounced that, but I sent him pictures of the figure, and then he did the artwork, and he did it in different layers, so I can move like the character art around on the background, and so I did I put everything together in there. But it's just supposed to have kind of a vintage, feel to it, a vintage look, and like pretty much a lot of stuff that I do. I would rather make a generic, character that hits all the points that I like.
Yeah.
Than to make a licensed, monster. I mean, I love Universal monsters and everything. It's just it's been done, before. I wanted to make a really sexy,
Well,
vampire.
I was going to say, this is clearly, okay, first of all, for those that can't see, it says, this is for an adult collector ages 15 and up. There might be some parents that might not want even their 15-year-old to have this, but it's geared towards adult collectors, and it's adult collectors on average are our age.
Mm-hmm.
Collect Mego figures, and it's about the nostalgia of the 8-inch. Well, I guess it's roughly what 1/9 scale.
Yeah.
Format. So and we're forever adding different characters to our want list, and we can never have too many. And I don't believe there's not many. I haven't seen anything like this really. I mean, there was one figure that they did many years ago that wasn't an 8-inch scale figure, but it was an Elvira figure.
Yeah.
With a chainsaw, but she was like, I don't know, 6-7 inches tall.
Yeah.
And she wasn't posable. It's not in a Mego format. So this could quite possibly be like the first anatomically somewhat correct.
Yeah. So this figure that we used here, I didn't develop that female body there. David Lee and Craig Owens from Zika Toys or Zika Toys, they came up with that design. I bought the molds from Craig, his part of the molds, and then we sold the molds, the male and female, to Classic TV Toys. So they sell these bodies now.
Okay. Yeah.
But part of our agreement was, that I could still, we could still do projects and stuff. And so my wife and I do a lot of stuff for the equestrian collectors that collect horses and stuff. And they use these female figures for their horse displays. They make custom clothes for them. And so that's a real big thing for us.
Yeah, definitely.
We sell tons of those. And, the Mego figures, just the females I always felt were a little lacking. The proportions and the head size and all this. I wanted to make, a super sexy woman, big busted, have some legs showing. And then I always hated how when the girls, they put these shoes on them and the shoes always never stay on. They look funny. So we designed some feet. Well, those feet are actually.
She's got, I don't know if you can see some pretty gnarly fingernails on her.
That was the other thing. I wanted to have some splayed hands that were splayed out with pointy fingernails and red fingernail polish, and the same on the feet. And then the feet are actually, there's a post in there with a ball and socket in there, so there's a little bit of
okay, some play, yeah, okay.
Yeah. But
that would help in posing and stuff,
Yeah. But
that's to the articulation of it.
Yeah, I just wanted to do, something similar to Elvira or Vampire, or, just a sexy, old school, female, monster,
Oh yeah, absolutely. It fits right in perfectly because there's not much of that stuff, I can go over there in the collection right now and pull out a Hammer Dracula, and it's beautiful. I love it, but
yeah,
these guys were always surrounded by these these vixens, these vampire vixens and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's lacking. It was definitely lacking. So you're definitely filling in a niche for that, a space that needed to be filled.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like a little bit of that, sexy girls in some of these old,
Yeah, especially the old Hammer horror movies. There was always
beautiful girls in some of these old horror movies and stuff. So that was the aesthetic and stuff that I was going for there.
So where are you gonna, what's the plan here moving forward?
Well, so, this is kind of I don't know if you want to call it a pet project or, I've got several projects going on with different people, with different scales and different things. And this is, I guess, kind of my creative outlet for projects. So this, I've got projects I do like the equestrian stuff. I don't collect that stuff. I don't, I make those figures for them to use, and however they want to use them, and make them look the way they want to make. But I don't have any. I don't collect horses, so that's more of a transactional, thing. I mean,
Yeah.
This is stuff that I love, and so it's not something that I'm not trying to knock out 20 figures a year, different figures. This is just like if I get an idea to create a monster or a character or to do something, then I'll start working on it. And it's kind of like my no pressure. When I get it done, when I get it done, I get it done.
Well, and that is admirable too. On the that it's, if you the old saying, you better get it while the getting's hot, or while the getting's good. Because let me just back up a little bit. You and I share a common story in history when um, we almost turned a motel room into like a meth lab with.
Yeah.
Because I used to do some work for you guys, and
Yeah.
when you had gotten that Phantom.
You saved our life there, I think, is what happened.
When you got that Phantom license, you had like, I can't even remember how many boxes was shipped to my house from China, but there was many, many, many giant boxes. I think
Yeah.
I barely had any room in my trunk to fit all that stuff in and get my luggage in. And we met you in Orlando, you and David Lee from Castaway Toys.
Yeah.
I got there first, and I brought all this stuff and was in the room, and I had instructions I had to melt the eyes out of the foam for the skull, for the throne, because you
That's
had
right.
these exclusive thrones that the Phantom had his throne, and you
Yeah.
had sculpted this elaborate base that had skulls and terrain, and then there was like a hot coal, or well, there was two of them.
Yeah, two of them, one on each side.
Yeah, one on each side with hot coals in it. And I think from the minute I got there till when you guys got there, we didn't go to bed until it had to have been like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to get this stuff done. And,
Yeah.
and melting that foam in the room, it made the whole place, like, imagine, like, smell like a
Yeah. Yeah.
but you, like, pretty much, and there was quite a few of them. I remember painting a bunch of those thrones,
Yeah.
and you guys completely sold out of them quick.
Yeah, that was a neat process too. It was the first time I've ever used that foam, and I had to make a mold and have a vent in it, and you have to let enough pressure build up where you fill the mold as the foam expands. But if
Uh,
you too much pressure,
it'll come out.
it'll just blow the mold out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, so
Did you make that mold out of, was it a silicone
I
mold?
had silicone, and then I had a wood box around it.
Okay.
And then basically, I had to put the foam in there a certain amount, and then screw the top of the box on real quick while it was expanding.
Uh-huh.
And then basically, it would fill up the mold and then create pressure, and then it would totally fill all the voids. That's how we got such good
Nice.
castings out of it. But
Yeah.
it was yeah, like most stuff that we've done, we really didn't know what we were doing, and I think that's how, whether you're making masks or making sculpts or busts or model kit, whatever you do, that's where that great stuff comes out of it, when you're just being creative and just trying things, and
Yeah.
that's how I guess I've been doing this going on 15 years, and that's how everything has always come together. It's not like we have some master plan or some recipe, or it's just getting ready for work or something, and it's like, hey, it'd be cool to make a vampire bride,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you just start putting the pieces together. And so I guess with all the different stuff I do, this is just kind of my creative outlet where it's just like, I want to make stuff that I love, and hopefully I get the vibe right on it, and other people like it too, and they want to buy it, and I
But
can keep
the
making
fact that it's
projects.
quality, it's good quality product. Because you had
Yeah,
also that year secured the Captain Action,
yeah,
which if people don't know, Captain Action, it was a character from the '60s. I don't know, was it in competition with GI Joe? Is that what the deal was, or?
the whole story, but I think that was maybe their
Well, yeah,
their
you had
their
Doctor Evil, you had Captain Action, and Captain Action back in the day, it was a generic head, and then you could pop on different like Batman head or
yeah,
different costumes and stuff like that. And Doctor Evil had a messed up face, and you could put masks on him. Well, you had secured a license of that, and you'd knock that out of the park, the details and stuff on that. But you guys had a lot, but they completely sold out. And now, if you go on eBay right now and you manage to find a Phantom Throne with the Phantom figure, it goes for a lot of money now.
yeah.
So
I think
your
that was
guys' products are sought after, on the secondary market. I don't see how this would be any different because if we even go even further back in time, my introduction to you guys was I delivered to you one of my Kit Bash Castle dioramas to
yeah,
use sell your, it was Creepy Classics,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, Creepy Classic Monsters,
yeah.
which you guys had. Who was it that sculpted that shock monster?
Corey Woods was his
Corey
name.
Woods, yep,
He
phenomenal.
probably, out of all the sculptors and people I've worked with, he's probably one of the best. I mean, he just, he understood what things are supposed to look like, and that's what everything that I've done that I've been proud of. It's got a look to it that should take you back to a certain time, or I try to me, that's what makes it good. Is that if you can convince people that what you're selling, that they saw it in the store in 1970 or something, I think, then you've done a good job. So when we did that show with the Phantom, we'd have people come up and say that they remember seeing that figure, growing up, and
Uh,
it was never made. It
yeah,
wasn't made until we made it, but it hit all the right notes for people, and they actually, think they remember seeing it.
yeah,
And so,
yeah,
I think that's something that's lacking in a lot of things when people try to do a retro line, or it'll be lacking in something, and you got to be able to convince people, um, that they're seeing something from their childhood, or they connect with it, emotionally, from memories, or something,
yeah, yeah,
whether it's whether it makes them reminds them of old Aurora model kits or something,
yeah.
or something they saw in old, a mask they saw in an old horror magazine, or whatever it is. It's got to have the right feel to it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's all. That's all. Like I said, the ones that gravitate toward it the most. That's not to say that we're picking up new people, younger people that are digging it as a designer, concept. But most of it is people our age that like the comic book art and
Yeah,
like Famous Monsters of Filmland, Creepy, the Warren publications, old scary movies, black and white Universal monsters, and the monster toys and stuff like that. So it definitely it hits pop. It's a pop culture thing for sure,
right.
and it's now regarded as art in my book because I think it's to me this is a piece of art. And a lot of the collectors now that seek that stuff are feel the same way because I don't know when last time I saw one of your creepy classics come up for sale. But when they do, it just people really grab. They want it. They
Yeah.
I want that.
Well, and that was weird because that was going on as we were making stuff. I mean, like with the Phantom, and we got them in and we sell them out, and now, like 10 years late, I don't even know what date it was when we made those, but so many years later, I still have people contact me, and they want to buy it, and It's in some cases, we sold everything we had, and I've had to go back to eBay and buy stuff that I made, which is really weird.
Yeah.
But even at the time, though, the figure, we were selling figures for like 20, $25 for the Phantom. I think it was maybe $25.
Yeah.
And you start seeing stuff that you made go for $150 and $200,
Yeah.
and it's continued on since then. I mean, it started right away and it's never stopped. You know,
Yeah.
and with nowadays where everything's a limited edition and things are hot and expensive, and then 2 years later, you can get them cheap in a lot of cases. We've lost that whole limited edition or special or whatever, and so it's pretty cool seeing your stuff where people still appreciate it.
And yeah, you probably don't even have a set of anything for yourself, do you?
I have maybe half of the stuff that I've worked on. I don't have any of the creepy classic monsters, unfortunately.
Uh,
Uh, Everything we did, I mean, our whole mission when Dave and I started, and it's pretty much this way now, is that we weren't trying to get rich. We were trying to make money to fuel more projects, and I guess this is my creative outlet. And even now, I'm not trying to get rich. I'm just trying to make enough money to do the next head sculpt and the next character and the next, whatever.
yeah. Yeah.
And so if we see some success from that, that's great. If I don't go bankrupt from it, that's great too.
So, in saying that, if people have the opportunity to get one, I wouldn't like. That's the mistake I made. And this is something that the viewers, if they're interested in this, um, they'll make the same mistake I did, because you gave me, when I worked for you, I had all the creepy classic monsters. I had the throne. I had I had all the variant phantoms. I had Doctor Evil, the
Yep.
Redbeard, and I'm trying to think of what else there was. I everything, and then you had bags of boots and
Yeah.
accessories and everything else. And I took that for granted, because I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll be able to replace it. I'll trade it or whatever. And now I don't have it anymore, and I regret it, because I'll never be able. You won't make it. Oh, can you make it? Can you make me replacements?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you even
Well,
have molds anymore? Are they even good anymore? Because that's something else other people may not know, is that molds don't last forever.
right. So we do, we are, whether it's, me and my wife do, the white elephant stuff. Dave and I still do projects together, and we have, some molds that are already made for new monster characters. We've got a mummy that's already finished. We've got the same shock monster that you're talking about. We have that head molded up in China now, and eventually we'll
Oh,
have a out for that. And so, we've got another a Lincoln. Let's see, the Lincoln Dracula head is molded up, um, and so we'll get there. We've got some plans to
yeah.
continue on with this stuff.
But basically, at the end of the day, when these become available, people better buy them and not think that they're gonna be in abundance. You're gonna do them in limited runs and then
Yeah,
move
so
to the
everything we
next
do,
project.
typically we do runs of like 500, and so that's enough to make enough money from them to pay for the molds and have enough money to get the next project going. So the unfortunate thing for us is that we only can make projects as we sell out of the project we just finished, and so what's always been kind of, there's so many products out there for people to buy. People will wait and they'll say, well, they'll get one, and this and that, and so that just pushes out our date to get the next project going. So
Yeah, yeah.
we we're not trying to pay our house payment here. We're, like I said, we're
Just
trying to
fund the
fund
next project. Yeah,
the next project.
yeah.
So
So, in saying that, if somebody wants a Murderous Maiden today, is it possible to get one?
yeah, so I guess I'm calling it like a soft start. For one, we do all this stuff ourselves. So we put all these figures in the packages, put the cards in, and if you get 100 orders all at one time, it's hard to manage. if you got a job and everything, which we do. And so I didn't want to put them up for sale until I had everything done that we could get done ahead of time. So this last weekend, we started putting them all in shipping boxes. And that way, when I put them up we're working on a little website right now, but when they're up for sale, they're already boxed up, and all we got to do is put the shipping label on them.
Good, yeah.
So, it doesn't sound like, but if you get orders in bunches where you get 50 to 100 orders at one time, and then it's hard to get the stuff shipped out. So, basically, we've got about half of them boxed up in shipping boxes, and we're going to get everything boxed up and ready to go. We just have to, slap a label on them and ship them out. But if we can put up my contact information, or they can contact you or whatever. I am taking, some sales here and there from people that message me or contact me. We go ahead and ship them out. They're ready to go. We just weren't ready for a massive influx of orders at one time.
Well, this could cause the massive influx. You don't know.
Yeah.
When I'm telling people, they have no idea like how rare everything you guys have made so far is like highly sought after, and people pay a premium for it. So I can't see any of your other stuff not being any different, especially in a limited run.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It was kind of humbling. It was probably maybe a couple of years ago we got kind of reconnected with some of the old Mego folks, and there was this whole like group of people that were interested in what we did and how we did it, and we started doing little web interviews or whatever you call them with people, and telling stories of how things were done, and we just kind of met all these people that really appreciated that work and everything. So it's it's pretty neat to have your work appreciated and people interested in what you do.
Well, it's tremendous amount of work, especially when you're, it's one thing if that's what you're doing for a living, then there's no, there's no really any excuses. But when you have to maintain a full-time job, house, family, and then try to dedicate some time to it, it's a lot of work. So, do you already have a price point on for each one of these figures yet, or?
Yeah, so the figures are $25 each plus shipping is what our price is. We don't, unfortunately, we don't. That's a good price for us where we can make a little bit of money off of them and put money towards the next project. We don't get the volume discounts. People are making 10,000s of something. So basically our shipping is higher. We, like I said, we do everything with FedEx. So each figure costs more for me to ship. But I don't have enough quantity to get a shipping container. And if I did get a shipping container, it might be sitting out in the ocean somewhere and we're waiting. So
right.
We pay higher manufacturing and higher shipping, on everything. So we got more in each figure basically.
Well, I don't, I think it's very, very reasonable for, granted you're getting a high quality, limited run figure. I mean, the detail on it is, the card art. You got this resealable bubble that you can take the figure in and out. It's got the retro, old school graphics to it. It speaks 70s to me. It's definitely, I could see this girl in a Hammer horror movie, like, quite easily. She fits the profile for sure.
Right.
And, so to me, I think that's a very, very reasonable price. Really, you think about the NECA figures that they're selling now, they start at 30 plus. You know what I'm saying? And then it's a no-brainer for me.
Well, from a female body perspective, I mean, this body is better, in my opinion, than anything that NECA's had on a female. And so it's got double jointed knees and elbows. It's very posable. It's got the bust. It's got an articulation point here, so she can bend forward. I mean, it's a very articulated, well-made, figure.
I'll pop her out.
That's kind of one of the problems I've always had with a lot of the female figures is that the proportions are always just they're not good, you know.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. I like her arm movement and everything too, so she can. And of course, her head turns and.
yeah, you know, a lot of times they just have generic hands on the figures and stuff, and so you know, I wanted to have some cool.
Very proportionate all throughout. You know, like you said, like the Mego figures, the heads tend to be larger.
Yeah.
You know, this seems more proportioned. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
like
more like a female
Yeah.
proportion in the waist and the.
And then the great thing, and again, you can just pop it right back in and reseal it. That's the one thing you can't do with a NECA.
Yeah,
Is, you can't pop it out. Once you
I
pop
could
it
be
out,
wrong, and I can't take the credit for it, but I don't think anybody in the 1/9 scale came out with a clamshell like that.
you guys were definitely the first ones to do
Yeah,
that, and I can attest to that because uh, I remember you guys came up with the resealable clamshells when the Phantom, we had the Phantom and
yeah,
the Captain Action thing, and but there was people quick to try to steal the concept,
yeah.
you know, and now it's
Well, a lot of things that we did, you know, we're the first people in this format to make accessories out of other things besides plastic. You know,
yeah,
so the Phantom, the boots were so tight and thin on those boots that they had to heat them up, I think, to get them on. But they looked like real boots. You
yeah,
know,
they did. They were really good boots. Yeah,
so. You know, I think we started that whole thing with rubber gloves and rubber
I
boots, and
think they were actually vinyl.
yeah,
The
yeah,
first
I say
vinyl,
rubber, but yeah, you're probably right.
and I remember too that if you had a pair of white boots and you didn't want a pair of white boots, what was it? Duplo colors, the vinyl
Yeah,
spray paint. It would drink it in. You couldn't scratch it off or anything. So you could even paint the darn boots
yeah,
to.
that would dye as well. But you know, it like we always try to innovate, and anything that I do, I try to get that retro feel, but also kind of step it up a few notches. You know, I love the Mego style figures in the Mego format, but I always wanted to take it a little further. You know, I think it's a perfect scale.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It, they don't take up too much shelf space like a 12-inch tall figure, but you
Mm.
can still do some details with the clothing and different things and get a really nice detailed figure, And so it was always about, trying to push that envelope a little bit and see what can you do in this scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, I know you guys can do it for sure because you've done it in the past, and I for one, I'm really excited and looking forward to what you guys come up with next. The next question is, do you want me to give people your Facebook information to be
yeah, for
able to
sure.
contact
Yeah,
you if they want to buy a figure?
yeah, for sure.
Because you don't have a website yet. Uh,
No, that's the kind of the weird thing is I never was able to figure like I work on multiple different projects with different people, and I was never able to figure out how to tie all that together, because they're all totally different projects. So having like one website with all these different projects, just, I never could really figure that out. But my wife and I, like with the stuff that we do with the equestrian folks, we have a Facebook group with a ton of people in that, and we basically post stuff up and sell really well in that group, and so there's never been a need. We make stuff and they buy it, and then we make more stuff and then they buy that. We just post it in the group and it sells. So I've never really had a need, but um, now that I got the figures together and everything, I started working on coming up with an outlet to sell them. So I should have something up in the next week or two.
very
From
cool.
a
Very cool.
perspective.
Well, hey, you know what, Jason? It was awesome talking to you, man. And like I said, we can't wait. We're gonna keep our eyes open, and maybe when the next project comes around, we'll have to do this again.
Yeah, for sure, man. I really appreciate you having me on, and I've been loving watching your videos and stuff, and
I
the
appreciate that.
tutorial. enjoyed a lot of the stuff that you've done with video and stuff. I mean, early on, you inspired me a lot with your ape stuff, and that was a big start, I guess, boost for me to get started in this stuff and see what you can do with
Oh,
clothing.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to, the people that watch the Weird Kid show are really not too familiar with that part of my history because I just, I'm gonna have, I still have patterns for all that stuff, and
Yeah.
maybe someday I might have to figure that out and maybe start playing around a little bit again.
Well, I thought it was cool, and it kind of, tried to carry that on. It was really cool what you did with the clothing and that scale, and that I think that kind of resonated with me. Like, okay, we can do the accessories like this with these materials, and this is, you don't have to have baggy, ill-fitting clothes. Like, you can actually make some pretty cool outfits in the scale, and so just you and others, and there were sculptors and different people that painted and different people
We were
that
doing art. We were doing art in one night scale. I think what we were trying to do is we were making a figure and then trying to make a picture basically of of that character or something like that, and
all just kind of fed each other's creativity, I guess, and everybody was doing cool stuff. And we were,
like Charlie Flat. You mentioned Charlie Flat. I mean, I used to see his stuff and I was like, man, I want to be able to do that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually other people were inspired, and then there was people that are coming out like there's all these
and
Captain Mego and some of the amazing stuff that they were doing. It fed each other, and
oh yeah.
I think it's an adult way of boys playing with their toys, man. We don't sit there and play with our toys in the dirt like we used to as a kid. Our way of playing with our toys was to build and create. And then, of course, you said it evolved into a business because I owned a business back then as well. You owned a business. So anyways, Jason, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us. And I'm going to be providing a link to your Facebook page.
Okay.
If people want to get a Murderous Maiden, I'd suggest you get in it now and hold on to it because it's gonna become a rare figure and it's gonna be worth millions of dollars on eBay.
I don't know about that. I'm hoping that my next, I got this idea rolling around in my head to make a Lizzie Borden with a really cool Victorian outfit on and stuff.
Dude, with the axe.
Yeah.
Wicked. I would buy that for sure.
Yeah. So I appreciate you having me on, Dave. And as always, it's been great catching up with you. And
yeah, definitely, brother.
I'd love to do it again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. We will do that, man.
All right.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you weren't familiar with Mego, hopefully this gave you an entry-level introduction to it. If you are a Mego collector and a Mego-like collector, like I said in the video, don't delay, guys. If you have the opportunity to get your hands on one of these figures, do, because they increase in value, which that's not why I collect, but it is nice to know that you're getting something that's exclusive and there's not an abundance of. So anyways, guys, I'm going to give you down the link to Jason's Facebook page. If you're interested in getting one of these figures, you can message him directly. So, anyways, guys, thank you for being here, Haley. Rah, rah, rah. Thank you guys for being here. And until next time, peace. Good job, baby. You did a good job.
Watch our video. Don't miss it out.
Don't miss what?
Our video.
Don't miss the videos, Haley.
Click the like button. Have a thumbs up. Bye.
Give it a thumbs up. Bye.
Welcome to
All right, we gotta start.
picture.